The intersection of um, artistic expression, contractual obligations, and the law in a foreign country lead to a highly charged and political and cultural crisis, particularly when it comes to pop groups like the British band 1975. In July 2023, that's not last year but the year before, at the Good Vibes Festival in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, the lead singer Matty Healy took to stage and, in an act that was both politically charged and theatrically provocative, kissed the bass player Ross MacDonald. And this onstage display was not merely a fleeting moment of spontaneity, it happens. It was a deliberate gesture intended to challenge Malaysia's stringent anti homosexuality laws. And in Malaysia, where same sex relationships are criminalised and punishable by up to 20 years in prison and even caning, Healy's actions struck at the heart of the nation's legal and cultural conservatism. Now, whatever you think about that cultural and legal position, that is for Malaysia to decide. Um, when foreign groups come to a country and perform, there's a there's a thin line between challenging the the norms and being accepted as an outsider, coming in and doing one's performance. The performance itself was steeped in controversy. When the band first performed at the festival in 2016, they'd agreed to a set of behavioural guidelines: no swearing, no smoking, no drinking, no discussions of religion or politics on stage. And fast forward to 2023, and not only did the 1975 band disregard these pre established rules, they also engaged in what many would call a calculated act of defiance. Alongside the kiss, there were additional provocative elements: a smuggled bottle of wine, a profanity laden tirade, and what some critics have described as a second rate set designed to unsettle the audience and the authorities alike. And this series of actions had immediate consequences. The Malaysian government reacted strongly to what it perceived as an affront to its laws and cultural norms, shut down the festival, not just the band. And the fallout was swift. The incident not only led to the cancellation of further performances in the region, but also sparked a legal battle that's now reached the courts in London. And the crux of the legal matter centres on a lawsuit brought by Future Sound Asia, the festival organiser, and FSA is seeking damages in the region of £1.9 million, alleging that the 1975 actions breached contractual obligations and that the band members themselves owed a duty of care. The organisers argue that the band's deliberately provocative behaviour, I don't think that can be questioned, far beyond what had been contractually permitted, was responsible for the substantial financial losses incurred when Malaysian authorities stepped in and cancelled the event. Now, at the heart of the legal debate is the question of personal liability. FSA's legal team contends that each of the four band members should be held responsible for the individual contributions to the breach of contract. In contrast, the band's legal representatives, notably the barrister Edmund Cullen, argue that liability should rest solely with the 1975 Productions LLP, the company contracted to perform, not with the individual artists. Cullen dismissed the claims against the band members as illegitimate, artificial, and incoherent, and his argument was grounded in the principle that the contractual relationship existed exclusively with the company and that any breach of duty was a matter for the corporate entity, not the individuals performing on stage. A London judge, in a ruling delivered yesterday, reinforced this position, and the judge concluded that the claims against the individual members were bad as a matter of law. An interesting position. In essence, while the lawsuit may proceed against the company, the individual band members are shielded from personal liability for the festival's losses, at least in the opinion of that British judge. Moreover, the court ordered the FSA to pay legal costs of £100,000, a decision that underscores the perceived weakness of the claims directed at the individual artists. This legal ruling is significant for several reasons. First, it reaffirms a long-standing legal principle in entertainment and contractual law that personal liability is distinct from corporate liability. And when a band signs a contract through a company, The responsibilities and any personal liabilities are typically confined to that entity. And this separation protects individual artists from bearing the brunt of financial legal repercussions arising from actions taken as part of a collective performance. Second, the case invites us to consider the delicate balance between artistic expression, and contractual duty. Matt Healy's onstage kiss was not an isolated act of unrestrained behaviour, it was part of a broader performance ethos that has defined the 1975's public persona. For Healy, such acts are a means of articulating political dissent, a protest against laws he perceives as oppressive, and especially those targeting the LGBTQ plus community. Yet when such expressions occur in a contractual context, particularly in countries with strict social and legal codes, they can lead to significant real-world consequences. And the ruling in striking down personal liability acknowledges that the responsibility for such provocative performances lies within the framework of the contractual agreement and should be dealt with at that level rather than penalising individual artists. Third, there's a broader cultural and political implication. On the one hand, Healy's actions have been lauded by some as a brave stand for LGBTQ plus rights, a performance that challenges oppressive legal frameworks. On the other hand, many within the Malaysian LGBTQ plus community have expressed concern that such high-profile acts of protest may inadvertently put them at greater risk. And critics have argued that by drawing such attention, the 1975 might be seen as engaging in performative activism where the spectacle of dissent overshadows the complex, lived realities of those who face persecution on a daily basis. The incident also illustrates how cultural exchanges are fraught with tension when global acts of defiance meet local legal and moral codes. In an era when pop culture is increasingly politicised, performances such as these are bound to generate debate, not only among fans and critics, but also among legal experts and cultural commentators. The ruling effectively delineates the boundaries of personal accountability for public figures and highlights the need for clear contractual frameworks when artists perform in politically sensitive environments. So the Malaysian court's decision marks an important moment for both the music industry and for discussions about freedom of expression. And while the court has provided a measure of legal clarity by shielding individual band members from personal liability, it also leaves open broader questions about how artists can navigate the fine line between political protest and contractual obligation. For the 1975, the ruling is a vindication of their stance, of their position, asserting that the responsibilities for any breaches lie with the corporate entity, not with the individuals who choose to express dissent on stage. Ultimately, this case is a reminder of the power and the peril of performance art in a globalized world. It challenges us to consider how we define responsibility and accountability in contexts where law, art, and politics intersect. As audiences, critics, and legal observers, we should recognise that acts intended as political protest can have far-reaching consequences, both legally and socially, and that the interpretation of these acts will continue to evolve as the world grapples with issues of free expression and of human rights.